We grew up in, it's called independent fundamentalism, if you're familiar with that.
I am not.
Yeah, it's pretty much a cult, is kind of how I describe it. Because if you
Okay.
look up like the definition of a cult, like
Okay.
it's that. Um, but it was just, it is what it is. Very strict, law based. Our desires and passions and main subject was not Christ, it was man. Very sexist environment, very racist environment, just very much what we were against and not really what we were for. And we, like, my church was my school was my church. We were not allowed to be involved in anything outside of our community that wasn't in the bubble. Like, my dad got hate from like being too far, living too far away from the church. Very strict dress code, like couldn't wear anything but skirts, pantyhose, turtlenecks. Thought if I wore pants, I was going to hell. So when I got my first pair of pants, I thought I was like such a bad kid. Yeah, it was rough. A lot of corruption in the church too, which is, it's sad. I know it happens everywhere, but a lot of corruption that this church kind of brought. So like if something did happen, basically it would just be like swept under the mat, swept under the rug, and then they would just get like rehired at another church, like in another state. And
Mm.
this was like a constant thing that was just like keep happening, where really young teen girls that were just like bad things were happening. But my dad, he was a pastor at this church in Arkansas, and we moved to North Carolina for a little bit. It was still in the same pool, and then we moved to Memphis to try to like get out of it, but we were basically like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, is kind of how I would describe it.
Okay.
And really, with this is like you can't. It's either you're out or you're in. There's no like in between, or you're still basically in it.
Yeah.
And so, and this is like the really short condensed version, but we moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, my sophomore year of high school. And, my parents cried because they had to take me to public school because we couldn't afford private school. They thought they were like throwing me into hell. And they like, because all my other sisters, I have two older siblings, went to private school and they knew where they were going. And my parents been taught this their whole life that this is right.
Yeah.
And we didn't have social media back then, really. We didn't have YouTube or anything like that. And I feel like YouTube genuinely saved my family because that's when my dad kind of started listening to other pastors
Okay.
and kind of hearing like what the gospel truly is and that we're interpreting it poorly and very awful.